today we were able to talk to an absolute baller. David Biggers plays for Denver's men's soccer program, and currently battling an injury. He was letting us know how he got there, how was the whole recruiting process for him, but also on top of that, how he's going to recover from his injury. It was a very good talk, and I hope you enjoy this.
Yeah, so I'm David Biggers. I'm a junior at University of Denver. I play center midfielder or outside back. I'm just now getting back from injury, so I tore my
Mhm.
MCL in September. So
Damn.
I've been working on that for the past 6, 7 months now. And then our team, we just finished our spring season. We played Rapids 2, we played New Mexico United, and then a couple of other D2 teams like UCCS and Metro State University. So yeah, we had a good spring season. We tied Rapids 2 and lost 2-1 to New Mexico United. So it was pretty successful. But yeah.
Sick, bro. Yeah, and you were saying you were coming back from MCL injury. Were you able to play after that injury, or are you still recovering as of now?
Mm-mm. No, I had to get surgery in October, so I ended up missing the last about 2 months of the season.
Oh
So
man, sorry to hear.
yeah, yeah. But some things are a blessing. I got to redshirt because of it, and so now I have an extra year on the back end, which I honestly like. I wish I would have redshirted my freshman year, and then I ended up getting it. So
Yeah, bro, that's
works
really
out in
sick. Yeah, and I actually later on want to talk about how the rules are actually really changing with NCAA, with just JUCO not really affecting it anymore at all. So we're gonna see a lot, older players playing, every sport in general, but like soccer and football and all that is gonna get a lot bit bigger.
yeah.
But with you just recovering, like what have you been doing to recover and get back fit? And then how is it mentally? Because I know I actually came back from ACL meniscus myself.
Yeah.
But mentally I was very drained. So what have you been doing to kind of just overcome all of that?
Yeah. So I mean, first of all, I'll kind of just start with like what I've been doing to recover. So our team, we practice at like 8 in the morning usually, and so before that I'll come in at like 6:30, 6:45, and I'll do my rehab with my trainer in our facilities that we have for about an hour. And then prior to that, I'll go foam roll and stretch in our gym that we have, and then I'll come into the locker room, put my cleats on, and then I'll go outside and I'll usually do fitness with my trainer as well. So a lot of it's fitness and just like lifting and recovering, which is it's a little bit tough to do over and over again and not really get to touch the ball much. But you know, one thing that kind of gets me through that is just like knowing that if I don't take care of it now, it's gonna keep bugging me when I come back. So and then my team, we had a really good season this last season, and so now I want to be able to have another good season. So I know I need to play a big part, and to do that, I need to be healthy. So that was probably one of the biggest things that keep me motivated and keep me going.
Yeah, totally. And just like mentally, I mean, I know some players get really affected, like myself. I mean, how has it been since y'all did have a really good season and you ended up getting injured? How did it affect you just seeing your boys play and you kind of
Yeah,
sitting out?
yeah, that was honestly really difficult for me, like because in the beginning of the season, like I was playing quite a bit, and not being able to help them like as they're making a run in the tournament was tough, but like all I really wanted is for our team to win and do well. So like I and my guys are super close. Like we're all really tight. They're all great group of guys, and so just seeing them win was rewarding in itself. And one thing I had to tell myself is that like I did play a part in this, and I'm helping regardless if I'm on the field or not. Like I can give guys information that they might not be seeing when I'm on the sidelines,
Yeah.
or um, just giving them motivation to keep going, like work hard, like stuff like that. So I would say if you're off, like, and you can't, and you are hurt, I would say to just really try to stay as involved as you can. Like, don't become an outsider. Like, stay connected with the team. Make yourself feel like you're part of the team, because it's pretty easy to like let yourself drift off and feel like you're not really part of it. So that's the one thing I would say, and it's helped me the whole time to stay motivated. And like all the guys help me, because if I reciprocate they'll give it back to me. They'll give me motivation. They'll
Yeah.
help me. So I would just say really lean on your guys. It helps a lot.
Yeah, and just kind of expand on that more. I mean, how important do you think all of that is? A lot of kids kind of going to, doing their process of soccer. A lot of kids get better than the other, or some kids get a little bit worse as they get older. So players go from team to team. So not a lot of people can get, as much connections with their team. So why
Hmm.
why do you think it's so important that you have people that support you so much throughout something like this?
Yeah, I mean, it's super hard to go at it alone. And if you say you are on a new team, like putting yourself out there is really important. Just from like the personality standpoint and trying to connect with your teammates, even if you're a new guy, it's mightily important. And I understand that it's hard. I played on multiple teams when I was younger, and I bounced around a little bit, and it's hard to connect with them at first. But it everyone's kind of in the same boat. Everyone wants to be friends. Everyone wants to win. So the better you can put yourself out there and try to connect with your teammates, it really just builds your relationships on and off the field too. So that's what I would say.
Yeah, and kind of just learning more about your journey. I mean, how long have you been playing soccer overall?
Yeah, I mean, I think I started playing when I was 3, so pretty much my whole life. Yeah, my dad played soccer in college, and he got me
Sick.
into it when I was really young. So yeah, so basically my whole life.
Yeah, I actually was something like that, similar myself. And then actually, a lot of my family from Mexico, Guadalajara, and a lot of my uncles actually work for Chivas, so it was kind of just rooted in my family to end up
Yeah,
playing soccer. But cool to
that's
hear.
awesome. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
And as we're growing up, our whole idea, and I'm not too sure about yourself, and you can talk about it, but a lot of people think about going pro, and just following that path. If that was your goal, at what point did it click that you want to just play college instead, and then also, focus on going that route as well?
Hmm. Well, for one thing, going like the amount of guys that go straight pro from the academies, it's super small, and it's not really about where you are when you're 13, 14 years old. Like it's a process. So I've had plenty of ups and downs going. I don't know, my U17 year, I had a tough year, and I thought about like not playing in the MLS next. I thought about just going back to my hometown club and just playing. But then, I realized that like I wanted to play, and for me the like college route was probably more ideal. And um yeah, I mean it's just really hard to go straight pro. And so knowing that and being okay with like taking steps to get there is it's honestly a really good route, because there's plenty of guys who still go pro through college. And I can attest that my team, we had 4 guys get drafted to the MLS.
So,
So yeah, so I mean it's a process, but you got to be diligent, and you got to be okay with not being okay at times. Like it's up and down a lot. It's you'll grow like this. You're not gonna go straight up. It's like a
yeah.
wave.
Yeah, and I mean, I've actually been in this for a while, or not too long, but quite a bit to see, people change their mind of what schools they want to go and not to. We actually had a guy who went to Division One in New York or New Jersey, I think, or Boston. It was Merrimack. He
Mhm.
decided that he just wants to play Division Three back where where he was in Houston. Why do you think it's so? Why do you think players think it's so important to go D1, and then later on they realize that that's not really what they really wanted? What advice you have to those type of players?
Yeah, so that's a big one actually. For me, I think a lot of guys are worried about, the name that they're going to, like the name of the school, what conference they're in. But I would say one of the most important things when you're getting recruited is to look at like the culture of the program that you're going to, and find one that fits you. And for me, it was a little bit easier because I grew up in Colorado, and I was around DU a lot, and I knew the coaches, and I went to their camps all the time when I was younger, so I knew what kind of culture they had. So it made it easy for me. But I've had friends that have gone to other schools, and they've transferred to go play at another school. And I think you really gotta like get to know the coach that's recruiting you, and you gotta put yourself out there and be a little bit vulnerable too, to see if it is a right fit for you, because you don't want to go somewhere that you're not happy at, even if it's like your dream school. You don't really know until you meet the people that are there that make the program.
Yeah, and just expanding more on that, we've seen a lot of players, go to a school that was just like the name, like just like you said, they care more about the name. They end up going, and then they don't end up getting a start, or they come from a team that they got tons of minutes, and
Hmm.
now they're at this pretty big name school, and they're not getting no minutes. They get a bit depressed actually, and it's a bit sad for them because they're so used to just getting so many minutes. I mean, what advice do you have to players like that who is just mentally it's draining them so much that they're not able to play anymore?
Yeah, I mean, one big thing I would say is like, as a freshman, everyone thinks they're gonna be like the guy who's gonna come in and they're gonna break that chain of like either redshirting or not playing. But you kind of have to be okay with it. It's way easier said than done, but you have to be okay with not playing right away, because you it takes time to switch from like an academy to the college game. And they're like, the college game, it's a lot more. I would just say there's a lot more pressure when you go into a game, because there's more people watching. There's like more at stake, and I think it gets to players sometimes, and so you don't really realize that until you're on the field. And um, yeah, being okay, like just learning, taking in as much as you can your first year or two is it's important, because you don't know if you're gonna have a breakout season your junior or senior year. That's all it takes sometimes. So just trust in the process, that it's like it is an uphill battle, but you can do it. And yeah, just keep working hard all
Yeah,
throughout it
yeah,
too.
yeah. And what it sounds like, I mean, it sounds like you're really blessed and lucky to be in a really good position, with good teammates, a good team in general. Like, what advice do you have for kids that are trying to just starting this whole recruiting process and they have no idea what to do? And what advice do you have to those kids?
Yeah, I mean, for me, I would say when you connect with a coach, you really need to like uh, be assertive and text and call them and get in touch with them, because you could be a really good player and they might want you, and they might recruit you just for your talent, but they don't know who you are as a person. And you want to go there because it's a big name school, but like you don't know how happy you're going to be when you're there. So really connecting with the coach or the whoever's recruiting you. And then coming into it, if you do commit, then get in touch with the guys on your team as early as you can, so that you can start building relationships before you get there. So it's not just like a slap in the face. Like as soon as you get on campus, you don't know anyone, and they're like, the trainings are intense. Like the guys will yell at you. It's tough. So the earlier you can get in touch with everyone in your program, I'd say the better. And before that, even like with the recruitment process, just talking as much as you can, email different coaches and get on calls with all of them, so that you can know like what the coach wants and what to expect when you get there.
Yeah, and just learning. What did you do exactly to kind of show yourself out there and let coaches know that you were a good player and you have all these tools to become a even better player.
Yeah, I mean, I would say I did get a little bit lucky with my club team. We were pretty good as a team. Like my first year, or my 19's year, we went to the Final Four. With I was with Real Colorado, and we got a lot of exposure there through like a lot of the college coaches end up going to those MLS Next uh, tournaments, and if you go further, there's just going to be more coaches watching, so that helped. Another one I would say is I went to quite a few like ID camps. So, and I didn't just go to the ones where they like send you a mass email. Like you get in touch with the coach, and then if they let you know that they want you to go to a camp personally, not through just like a spam email, like that'd be the best, another good option, because you can go there and you can talk to them, and they can see you play for 2 3 days straight.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, and I really liked how you touched basis about the emails because actually one thing we're starting to really help and sell and talk to these student athletes is about those emails. I mean, they'll reach out, give like a generic email, maybe like a chat GPT, and send it to many of
Mhm.
these coaches, and then
Yeah.
maybe a few of these coaches respond, but it's just like a camp invite. And a lot of these kids don't really realize that it's kind of
Yeah.
more of just a money thing, right? They just
Hmm.
these schools want you to come, maybe check out the facility, and then after that leave with maybe a shirt.
Yeah.
So how important do you think is really paying attention to those type of emails?
Yeah. And I mean, the biggest thing I would say is like email, and then if they email you back with that, send them another email. And if they don't, if you're not having like an actual conversation with the coach, then I would take that into consideration that it's probably not like they're not necessarily trying to recruit you. They're just trying to get you to go to a camp, probably.
Yeah, and learning more about that recruiting process. We also offer with like editing film and all that for them. And there's been times where they send some clips over to us and they had some like Drake playing in the background, some Lil Wayne, some cool beat in the background. I mean, how important you think it is to be really professional in that whole recruiting
Yeah, I would
process
say
is?
don't put really any music in your film. Just put, especially with your film, I would say put the stuff that really like shows you as a player. Like say you scored 3 goals and but you're like a center back, I would say don't, like you could put those goals in there and show that you can score headers or whatnot, but show like your tackling and your positioning and how hard you work because coaches will look at that over like maybe like a highlight play that you made because it's more about consistency, like how consistent are you in a game versus like what one play did you make,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah, and I understand it. And a lot of players actually, um, as they're in high school, they're kind of the star player. They don't really care too much about academics. How important do you think it is for actually caring about your academics when it comes to this whole college process?
It's like it's mightily important, like you, I mean, also you're gonna get more money too if you have good grades. They're gonna offer you more like academic scholarships. So I know a lot of soccer schools or schools don't have a lot of money for soccer just because they have to give money out to other programs and whatnot. And so if you're at a more expensive school, um, you might need to rely on getting academic scholarship to cover a lot of your tuition. So I would just say really, really keep your grades as high as you can. And it's in high school, it's not that hard. Once you get to college, it's way harder. So do the work early, and then once you get there, then you can maybe just focus a little more on soccer. But
Yeah, and I mean, learning more about you saying how important academics really is. How would you say, especially now with your injury as well, how would you say how important it is for you to balance everything, just with academics and then also just college life and then also sports and training? Because we talk to tons of kids, especially when we're coming from NCSA and IMG, where they have training at 7 a.m. or have to wake up really early and then have recovery and then they have school right after. I mean, how do you balance everything to fit so well?
yeah, so um, I mean, our schedule is pretty rigorous. We have training 8 a.m. every day. Most guys show up at 6:30 to 7, I would say, and then we're training for 2 hours, and then once we finish, we're either in film or we're in the weight room for another hour, and then we get out at like 11:30, and then we have class 12 to 4, 12 to 6 usually. And so you really, like, I would say doing your stuff on the during the week is really important, or you could do it on the weekend and set yourself up for the week so that you don't have as much homework is a big one. And um, I mean, socially, it might be different at my school than other schools, but like my team, we're just so close with each other, and there's a couple other teams we're close with, other sports, but we we usually like get to do what we want to do with each other, and that's pretty satisfactory for most of us. We don't rely on too much, but I would say like if you really have like big aspirations for your team and yourself, like you have to sacrifice quite a bit socially, I would say. Like you can go out and meet people, but like going out and like partying and all that stuff is like it's you kind of have to cut your losses there and see see what you're really about. So
Yeah, yeah, and
yeah.
I'm glad you're touching bases on that because I mean I actually know some players who do party and are still able to play. But that's
Yeah.
probably 1% of the whole 100%. 99%. They might drink the night before and have the worst game they've ever had in their life. I
Oh
mean,
yeah.
how important. And also, I want to expand on that as well. I mean, we don't want people to take it too serious. We want people to still having fun and enjoy the game of soccer. So how do you have that whole balance of being socially still having fun and locking out when you're not playing soccer,
Mhm.
but also locking back in and not doing too much of that?
Yeah. So like, I mean, I'm not gonna say we don't go out ever. Like that's kind of you're a college kid. Like you gotta live the college life a little bit, and um, a big part of it is like what time of the year it is. So like during the season, our team we won't go out at all. Like we have a no going out policy pretty much all of the fall, and then in the winter and spring we will a little bit more, and but it's not like it's once a week if we are gonna go, but sometimes it's none, but never more than that. And so you get a chance to do that kind of stuff, but you kind of have to like, and you got to know yourself too. Like, how are you gonna feel? Come Monday when
Yeah.
we got an 8 a.m. practice, and like some guys are sluggish if they do go out, and they're slow, and it affects the training session. It affects everyone on the team. If you're having a bad training session, then you're gonna lack details. You're gonna lack intensity. So there's best of both worlds, and you just kind of have to figure it out for yourself. And I won't say like it's through trial and error too. So you're gonna mess up. Everyone messes up, and I mean, I've had my fair share of things I wish I didn't do, but you don't really learn unless you like put yourself out there. So yeah,
Yeah.
that's what I would say. So just kind of figure it out yourself. It's not, you don't need to go overboard, but you know, see what works for you and then keep to it.
And what do you do, right? It doesn't seem like you're too much of a party guy, which is good. Those are
Yeah.
really good to be really disciplined. But what do you do to kind of lock out when you're not really, um, you know, your body's you're trying to
Yeah.
recover. You're
Yeah.
trying to relax a little bit. What exactly do you do to kind of just lock out of everything?
So I mean, I really like to golf. So I'll go golf with my buddies a lot, and um, we have like little um get-togethers with our teammates at our houses and stuff. So like I'm not like complete straight arrow. And then I also like to, play video games and play football, play like, just kind of like um yeah, that's about it, honestly.
Yeah, and it seems like a lot of your life is shaped around soccer. When you're recovering, you do all these fun stuff. But now that you did have this pretty big injury, how did your life shift so much compared to how it was before? I mean, how did it? What exactly did you have to adapt to?
Yeah, so I mean like one big thing is a lot of the stuff that I really like to do involves like moving around and like, you know, running or golf. I couldn't do a lot of that stuff when I was hurt, and so I I played a lot of video games. I mean, one thing I would say is like you never really know when like your time's going to be up playing. And so that's where the school thing comes in, and like you do have to take your academics seriously because you don't know when your career's over, and you don't know what you're going to do after. For like over 99% of people, they don't make it, and they don't make enough money even if they're a pro to have like to set themselves up for life. So you you have to take it seriously in school and kind of like figure out what you maybe like a backup plan, what you want to do with your life. And like for me, when I got injured, I knew needed to kind of develop a backup plan as well. So for me, I'm studying finance, and I've been trying to take it pretty seriously ever since I got hurt, and even before that. But yeah, that's one thing I would say is like the school part. It's hard, but it's like it's worth it for sure to be a good student. Because I mean, you are a student athlete, student first, then athlete.
Yeah, No, yeah, and that's what we always say to our kids. A lot of them just want to play pro or go to a pretty big school like your school or Michigan or whatever it might be.
Yeah.
And I just want to talk a little bit more about your journey.
Hmm.
I wanted to learn more about what exactly you went from. We've talked to kids that actually weren't recreational, playing at the YMCA, and then they're killing everybody, so they kind of gradually went up. Some kids just started with a really good team and then just stayed at that level their whole time. I mean, how did your journey look like? And also, I wanted to ask you is when you're going from team to team, how did those relationships with your teammates, friends, even family, started looking like?
Yeah. So see, when I was younger, I'm from Fort Collins, Colorado, which is about an hour away from Denver, hour and a half. And so I played for a local club there for probably 4 years, from like 8 to 12. And um, my team, we were good, but we weren't like we didn't have a MLS academy or a DA academy, which was what it was at the time. And so I knew eventually, like, I wanted to keep playing, like I wanted to play college soccer. And so that was a step I needed to take to get there, for me at least. I thought that was the right step. And so I moved, or I didn't move, but switched clubs to Real, Colorado, which is in Denver. And so I had to start driving about an hour and a half to practice every day, 5 days a week. And it was tough because you got people in high school and middle school who are like living like totally different life than you are, and they don't really understand what you do. And they kind of like if you can't hang out one day, they're like, well, can't you just skip practice? And I'm like, no, I can't. Like, I gotta go down there. So there's times when it really sucks a little bit, especially from a social standpoint, because
Hmm.
you know you're in a different spot than them. And then obviously I was really close with my teammates down in Denver, but I didn't live there, so I couldn't really like hang out with them after practice much because I had to go back home. And so then I started to realize like I needed to really like value my friendships that I had at home, and like stay close with those guys. And I'm still close to my teammates that I played with in Fort Collins when I was younger to this day. Like, we play video games like every day, or
Yeah.
we'll chat and on Snapchat. Um, but yeah, like it can be really hard to be as committed as you have to be to get to where you want to be, but it is worth it. And I mean, it almost got to me at one point when I was U17. I during COVID, I was driving down every day, and I wasn't playing as much as I wanted to play because it was at that time it was the dual age group, so it was U16 and 17, and I was on the younger half of the team, and I wasn't starting. And like I got pretty frustrated, and like I was about ready to call it in Denver and head back to Fort Collins. And I ended up sticking it out, and then after that I ended up starting like all my games because it kind of flipped the switch in me that like I really like this is what I wanted to do. And after that I started playing better and a little bit less uptight as well, because I kind of was just like, well, I can if I don't want to do this, I don't have to do this, but like I do want to do this. And so I wasn't as worried about what my coach was thinking or what my teammates thought. I was just kind of playing for me a little bit
Hmm.
that year, and it really helped me kind of step out of like get out of my shell a little bit
Yeah.
soccer wise. And so I kind of had a breakout season that season. And then my U19s year, we had a really good year. And then I ended up playing 2 years of 19s, and so by then
Okay.
I'd
Was
known those
that
guys.
18 and 19? Did you play
Yeah,
with the
so
19?
U17 I played 2 years, and then U19 I played 2 years.
Okay.
And so my second year of 19s, I'd known those guys for so long that like they I ended up being I was captain that year, and like everyone knew me really well, and like we were all really tight because we'd spent so much time together. And so like that's where I will say that the relationships that you have with like your friends, and depending on where you're at, um, like your soccer friends, you can really lean on those guys because they really like go through what you go through. They
Yeah, they
know what
understand you. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
they understand you. So I would say like lean on your teammates a lot, and you're always gonna find someone on your team that even if you're not friends with like the whole team, like you'll find a friend or two on the team. So lean on those guys and be vulnerable with them and like really get to know them. It's really important because it's hard to just act like it's all business all the time because it's not.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
you're doing it for fun. It's a
yeah,
game.
yeah,
So
yeah. And I'm glad you touched base on that. And I was gonna really ask you some. You know, we talk to a lot of kids, and you know, a lot of them say that they're really good, but you know, there might be an issue with the coach. You know, they might not be getting exactly the minutes they want to get. So they're a bit scared to even try to go to college because you don't even know what type of film or how to talk to these college coaches.
mhm.
You also mentioned that you had a switch that just hit in your head that you know you wanted to start, you wanted to play this. You know, what advice do you have for those kids that are not getting as much minutes, and what exactly was your switch? What really made you you know really want this and fight for this?
Yeah. So one thing for me, like you said, is I was a little bit scared of my coach, to be honest. Like he was pretty intense, and like I'm someone who wants to have a good relationship with my coach, but like it would end up making me play scared in the games. Like I would play timid almost,
Hmm.
and I would make a lot of mistakes. I would have a lot of turnovers, and um, I ended up talking to my coach and saying like I don't know if I want to do this anymore. Like, and he wanted me to stay, and he told me why he thought I should stay, and I didn't know any of these things were going through his head because I'd never talked to him about something like this. And so I would say get like being really honest with your coaches and telling them what you want, and it might end up being really beneficial to you because you get a sense of where they're at in their head. So then you get on the same page, and then it's easier to just kind of play free and not really worry about what they're thinking all the time because you're talking to them about it.
Yeah. And what exactly was that? Was that switch once you spoke to your coach? Was that switch that you needed to really fight and get your spot on the team?
Yeah, yeah. And I think from his eyes, it was kind of like, whoa, okay, well, he really wants this, Like I don't think he knew what I wanted before. And
Hmm.
then when I had an honest conversation with him, it opened up his eyes to like what my aspirations were. He knew I was a good player, but he didn't know like if I could be a leader, if I could, you know, handle pressure, like playing against clubs like FC Dallas or Rapids and stuff like that. So once I kind of had a it was a tough conversation in the moment, but I'll never forget it, and it really propelled me because it allowed me to have a better relationship with him. And then
Hmm.
eventually, as I said, I ended up being captain with that same coach my senior year. But that was like it's not through without trial and error. Like
Yeah.
there's a lot of ups and downs, and you know, being resilient is super important. You're not going to get what you want all the time. Like that's just like that is a given. Like
Yeah.
you don't know what you're going to get, but you are not going to get what you want all the time. That's the one thing. So
Yeah. And I'm glad that everything changed for you. It looked like it was a really good decision by the coach to finally
yeah,
put you captain.
yeah,
But there are some times where you know the coach might be a bit wrong of what he's doing, or sometimes you know it's a really good team. They have a system that's working perfectly. I mean, although you're a great player, the system's working perfectly, and the coach needs the team to win. What would you say to those players that you know don't fit the system, but you know they have the talents to go play in college. They might even have the talents to play Division One. What do you say to those players?
So one thing I would say is like don't ever try to completely conform or like be the system because you bring something different. Each person brings something different, and so you don't need to try to be the guy that like say there's a guy who's starting over you. You don't need to try to be him. Like be yourself, but be yourself to your best ability. And so double down on what you're good at or maybe what you're not good at. So if you're a guy who needs to work on your technical ability, like and the guy in front of you isn't that technical, like you can beat him out through that. Or maybe it's in the gym, maybe you need to be more fit. A lot of times I would say it comes down to either your technical ability or your fitness that kind of holds you back. And so those are two things you can control and you can work on.
Mhm.
And then another one is like just soak in information like from your coach. Just be curious. Like ask him why maybe you're not starting, or maybe you might not agree with him, but like sometimes you got to play that game where like you kind of have to do what the coach wants because he at the end of the day he puts the 11 on the field. So like you kind of have to like you have to have strategy for yourself a little bit. You got to be a little selfish, but sometimes that doesn't always look. It's not like arguing with your coach or disagreeing with him. Sometimes you got to just take in what he's giving you and then use it to your ability to know what you need to do. So
Yeah. Yeah, and I'm glad that you talked about that fitness because a lot of us over here have actually coached a lot of teams, and you know, we got to a point where we were coaching really bad teams or very, very good teams, and when we would coach those really good teams, we would really focus on, if you're not as good as this player, what you can do is be more fit than a player so we can rely on you
mhm.
the whole game. I mean, what would you say to those players that are pretty talented, but fitness wise, they might not be there?
Yeah, I would say like there could be a talented guy in front of you, but if he's not going to work as hard as you, you're going to beat him out eventually. It might not be right away, but you can you can always work harder than the guy in front of you, and that pays so many dividends. Like for us here, we do fitness like throughout the whole spring and summer, and it's pretty hard, but like that's one of the reasons our team was super successful last year is because we could batter teams for 90 minutes, and then like you gotta like to beat another team, you got to beat them for 90 minutes. You can't beat them for 10, 15 minutes. So that's where I would say, like, if there's a skillful player who's really good in front of you and he can only play 15, 20 minutes at a high level and then he starts to drop off, that's where you can get him. You can
Yeah,
work on your fitness. And yeah, I mean, it's tough, but that's the squeaky wheel gets the grease. So,
yeah, yeah. And a lot we offer is film and helping you connect with coaches and things like that. But we also offer a lot of things to help you get prepared to once you go to college or prepare you if from JV going to varsity. We do a lot of fitness plans for you. We'll hop on a call and discuss where you are. Maybe you're a little bit chunkier than your opponent,
mhm.
or you're maybe a little too skinny to where you need to build a little bit more muscle. Why do you think something like that's so important to a soccer player that's trying to play at college?
Yeah, the college game is it's there's a lot of really good athletes that play. So like you'll be playing against guys that are really quick and really strong. And so like for me myself, I'm not like the strongest guy, but like I've worked on a lot of obviously fitness and then lifting and then one thing that's really important for me is like my first 5 steps. So like if I'm quick out of my first 5 steps and I'm defending outside back, I can keep up with a winger or get him off balance. Like you just need to be able to use your body to your advantage. And so if you are skinnier, like you do need to put on a little bit of weight or a little bit of muscle just to compete because it is pretty important. And then obviously your fitness is really important too. So if you're trying to lose weight, um, what you're eating is really important. What kind of foods you're putting in your body. So and on top of that, fitness.
Yeah,
So
yeah. And I'm glad you touched a little bit on the diet because a diet actually plays a pretty big role in everything. You can't be working out like crazy and then eating some hot Cheetos.
yeah,
A
that
diet's
doesn't.
it's
Yeah.
a diet's pretty important to everything. A lot of what we do is trying to structure a plan to get them ready when they're going to college because we want to make
Mhm.
that transition as easy as possible. Why do you think something like that is so important, especially when you're trying to transition to college
Yeah, I mean,
soccer?
one big thing I would say is it's like one of your first times you're on your own and you don't really have anyone watching over you, and so it's pretty easy to go into like get into bad habits of eating bad food or going to bed really late. Um, and that's through errors, trials and errors. So you're gonna mess up, and like you got to really figure out what works for you though. So for me, my freshman year, I would go to bed too late, and I would realize that I felt like crap in the morning at
Hmm.
practice. So that was one thing I was able to fix. And then another thing is like your diet. So um, a lot at most schools, you'll probably have a dining hall, and you'll probably be on like a meal program. And you really gotta try to just like find the foods that are a little bit healthier and like they obviously got to taste good because you got to eat it still. So, but um, yeah, you just got to be really diligent about the dining hall options. I would say your freshman sophomore year, because when you get to college, a lot of times they'll have like a nutritionist or someone who will kind of guide you a little bit, or like even your weights coach. He'll kind of help you with what you should eat, what you shouldn't eat, and I'm but going into it, I would just start like before you get to college, just start trying to like make really simple meals, like or just have your parents make like simple meals. Like it could be like rice, ground beef, and like like an egg or something, and you just put it into a bowl and mash it up, and it's really healthy. It's a lot of carbs and it's a lot of protein. So, but carbs are really important too, but like healthy carbs, so not like if you're eating like whole wheat bread or like stuff like that, it's really important for recovery, especially with soccer, because you're burning so many calories that you need to get carbs back into your body really quickly. It'll help you recover faster too. So I would say anything like whole grain is really good. So whole grain pasta, whole grain um, bread, and then get in protein too. So chicken breast or eggs or ground turkey. Those are all really good.
Yeah, and I'm glad we touched bases on this whole journey for you. I wanted to talk a little bit more about kids who don't have as much money or not really looking at the whole JUCO aspect to college. We actually talk to kids who don't have as much money as other kids, and we always recommend them the whole JUCO process, and especially now where it doesn't even take away from your
Hmm.
NCAA. What would you say to those kids that are coming from that side of the soccer?
Yeah, it's a really good option because first of all, as you said, you can go there for 2 years and you'll still get 4 years at like another school, like a full-time school. And being at a JUCO really helps you transition probably to what college is like. And so maybe you're someone who's, struggled with grades and you you go to a JUCO and you can kind of figure your stuff out there and you can get your grades up and then you can go to a better school. Or say you don't have the money, but and so it's hard for you to get recognition, at first. And you go there and say you play really well, you can give yourself opportunities to, get looks from other schools that maybe wouldn't have seen you before. And so going to those JUCOs can really help with that, especially like some guys have breakout seasons when they're at JUCO. Like they might not, be at the level they want to be at yet before college, and then they'll go to a JUCO, and they'll like when you go to college, you kind of like you start to develop a little bit more too. Like you're not
Hmm.
really done developing when you're in high school. Like you grow, you get stronger, you get faster, and so like you're just giving yourself a little more time,
Yeah.
and so it's really not a bad option. And then it could give you opportunity. You don't know where you're gonna go. Like there's like ACC schools, Big Ten schools that like they'll pick up guys from the transfer portal that are from JUCOs, and they'll have like breakout seasons at those JUCOs, and so you never really know like where your opportunities are going to come. And so if you get an opportunity to play JUCO, don't think of it as like a bad thing.
Hmm. Yeah.
So it's a
Totally.
really good opportunity.
Yeah, and I'm glad that you touched base on that. We really try to help kids that sometimes don't have as much money at times.
Yeah.
That's why we try to do something structurally where it's monthly, and then once we kind of get you there, we don't want to charge you anymore because we're there. You're glad that you're there.
Yeah.
But we also starting to help kids that are starting to transfer. There might be a JUCO that they did amazing at, but now they're trying to go to a Division One, and they're not too sure what to do. What do
Hmm.
you tell to those JUCO kids that are trying to get recognized, but they're not really getting the recognition, um, that they haven't been getting?
Hmm. Yeah. So one thing is like I'm not really sure what it like the film like how they're able to film at those other schools, but like cutting film is super important, especially when you're looking to transfer. And then um, listing your skill set is really important too. So like you got to be direct at what you're good at and what you can provide, because a lot of these colleges are looking for specific players, like specific positions that they're maybe trying to fill that they lost from the season before. But um, yeah, like the film part of it is huge, and then reaching out to as many schools as you can. It's like it is a pain in the ass, but like you will it'll pay dividends in the end because you are getting your like the more your name is out there, the more someone like maybe you email like 100 schools, one will respond. But if you
Mhm.
don't send those out, you're not going to get looks. So
Yeah.
it's a really tough process and it's kind of high pressure because there's a window of time that you can do it. But yeah, like just really being committed to putting together a good highlight reel and sending as many emails out as you can. I would say it's probably the best option.
Okay. And just trying to learn more about just yourself. What do you think it's next, right? After this, after your recovery, and hopefully everything's well. I'll be praying for you.
Thank you.
What's next after once you're ready to start going again?
Yeah, so hopefully in the fall I'll be, it's my it'll be my senior year, but I'll still have one more year after. But hopefully I'll be starting by then and playing quite a bit of minutes. And um, we got a tough schedule this fall, and so I just I want to be ready to play, like game fit, ready, like technical. And then over the summer, my team we stay here most of the summer and do pick like captains practices until the coaches are allowed to come back. And so taking that pretty seriously over the summer will be important for me. I'm not going to be playing on like a USL 2 team, like a summer league team this year.
Hmm.
And then, in the fall, hopefully our team we have a good season again. Our goal is to win a national championship here, so that's what I'm sticking to, and that's what I'm going to hold the team to. So
Sick. Yeah,
yeah,
I'm glad to hear.
yeah,
That's pretty cool, dude. I'm glad that you hopped on. You spoke to us.
yeah,
I think a lot of people are gonna learn from that. I think I don't know, man. It was a good talk, and we learned a lot. And
yeah,
yeah, I hope you can get that day in the life in, so we can see how that recovery, and
yeah,
what you're doing to practice and whatnot. But yeah, I really do appreciate the time.
yeah, man. Thanks for having me. I'm glad to help.
Yeah.
Like,
And this is the end of the podcast. We learned a lot from David. And a lot of the things he said, it made a lot of sense, and that's why we were able to connect with him and learn so much from him. Our goal here at Final Shot Soccer is to do exactly what David was saying, but make it easier, make it more simple for you. How to email these coaches, how to make a highlight film, how to showcase yourself to these coaches. What ID camps I should go or what shouldn't I go? What should I be eating to prepare myself? A lot of the things come in place to get into a good college, or even just trying to get to a varsity team or a better team. We hope that you use this to your advantage. And yeah, comment if you have any more questions or any more guests you would love to have. If you want to get started, our website will be down below in the description where you can start and hop on a call with one of us and we can, set a plan for you. I hope this is a good resource and I hope everybody can have a good day. Take care.